Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to another episode of Did You Know? So many people are getting married, and alhamdulillah, some are happy, some are not. Some are looking for solutions. Others think there is no solution. Joining me on this conversation is none other than someone I call Mommy Sheikh, but she is just my Mama Sheikh. And this is none other than Ustaza Mariam Lemo. But before we kickstart this beautiful conversation, which I'm excited about, stay tuned and we will be right back. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. How you doing?
Alhamdulillah, I'm fine. Thank
Good to
you.
have you on the Did You Know show.
It's a pleasure to be
Did
here.
you know that you'd be on Did You Know?
I did not know until yesterday.
now
Then
you
I
know.
knew. Yes. Now I know.
Welcome. It's good to have you, and alhamdulillah, I'm so excited you were here. And I was invited for your program recently, which I was so excited when I got the invitation for your, marriage conference and likes of it. And I thought it was going to be like a lecture on marriage, and I realized that no, it's a launch on something that is progressive, something that is going to, educate the public on how to keep their marriage and how to make a perfect marriage. And this is amazing. Can you tell us a bit about, this launch you did about the marriage? Is it a masterclass on marriage or is it just a marriage course?
It's a premarital masterclass,
Right.
Alhamdulillah, and thank you so much for joining us last weekend.
Thank you.
Alhamdulillah, it is an online course. So people all over the world have the opportunity to take the course wherever they are, from their bedroom. No excuse to say, I can't go to a school or I can't attend a conference physically. It's an opportunity for people to take it at their own pace. So it's a self-paced course where once you enroll in the course, that's it. It's up to you if you want to finish it in 1 week, 10 weeks, 1 year. It's a self-paced course. However, there are many exercises and things that you need to do that will help you unlock and really get to know yourself well. And so it's a journey. And I have 72 videos that I have recorded.
72 videos.
Yes, 72
How did
videos.
you record? In how many days did you record this amount of videos?
Oh my gosh, it took a while, alhamdulillah, and sleepless nights. We were recording back to back. But alhamdulillah, in the 72 videos, I share what I have learned from my, inshallah, this September, 30 years of marriage.
30 years of marriage.
Yes, alhamdulillah.
Mashallah.
So I try to give intending couples the knowledge, the prerequisites they need to know before they commit. So before they say, I'm ready to get married, there are so many things that people need to know. As far as I'm concerned, the real marriage begins before the marriage with the premarital. So I can talk about more details of what's in the course whenever you
That's amazing because from my research I got to realize that this is one of the first of its kind in Africa.
Yeah.
And this is amazing. Some people might say it's okay, just go and listen to a talk on marriage and everything. But why do you think it's very important that people should take this course, study it, rather than just listen to an hour lecture on marriage and boom, they feel they are expert in marriage?
Very good question. Well, definitely marriage is not one conference or one seminar lesson. There is so much more than what we often put into marriage. And the before is so critical. What I believe in is starting from the foundation. First of all, know yourself, become self-aware, have certain tools and skills that will help you not only make your marriage succeed, but make your marriage thrive. So in the early part of the course, I focus more about you. So me, myself, and I call it. So basically everything about understanding your strengths, but also understanding your areas for improvement, or some people call it your weaknesses. We all have habits that are self-destructive, and sometimes we're not aware of it. What I try to do is help people identify the habits that can damage their relationship, that can damage them. And then what are their strengths and how do they take advantage and build on their strengths? And then what other qualities do they need to have before they commit to a lifelong relationship with their partner, with their better half, so to speak? So I start with the foundation. Some of us are carrying wounds that haven't healed. Some of us are carrying scars from our childhood, from experiences we've gone through. So I try to make sure I help people shed the load, drop the excess baggage, because my husband and I do a lot of marriage counseling. And when we're talking with couples who are having issues, their marriage is in crisis, we get to find out that some of the issues stem back to their childhood, stem back to things they witnessed in the home or things they experienced personally that were not pleasant. Sometimes they were in a dysfunctional family. They saw their father and their mother fight, and it affected them from a young age. Some people have not identified how badly it has affected them. And the reality shows up once they have gotten married. So I try to make people understand that it's not just to say, okay, nikah is conducted and we will make it work. No, you have to make yourself work if a relationship is going to work. You have to be in order before your marriage will be in order. Otherwise, you're bringing baggage. You're going to offload it on your spouse. And your spouse also has their own. That's why I always encourage intending couples to take it together so that they progress on a journey together and shed the load. And then they are ready to get married. So the wounds will never fully heal because the scars are so deep. But what I try to do is at least get them to recognize, identify, and start the healing process. Then make sure they don't repeat history. Because one of the biggest problems is we repeat, we recycle bad experiences, sometimes very innocently, not realizing that our spouse and our children end up receiving our baggage. So there is so much that I cover in the course.
How do you intend to make this course accessible for those who cannot afford to pay for the course?
Excellent.
And what I've seen you do recently was I've seen so many people like say, I want to sponsor for this person, I want to sponsor for that person. This is really amazing. But how do you,
how do they do
cater
it?
for most of these people?
Yes, Alhamdulillah, also a very good question. Yes, we have a lot of people who have already paid for themselves to take the course. And the regular price of the course is $100 or 50,000 naira.
Right.
And somebody may say, oh, that's a lot of money. Yes, it is, definitely. However, you find, and because I'm talking to a lot of people who are getting married, we have misplaced priorities.
Right.
And we have this reluctance to invest in ourselves and the things that matter. We end up putting in so much on the superficial. And I'm deeply concerned. I had a discussion with a friend who called me a couple of days ago, and she said she visited a friend whose daughter is getting married. And the food warmers that the mother had bought for her daughter, she bought 5 sets. Each set was about 250,000 naira. And she was talking about the makeup artist was going to charge 200,000. And we are spending thousands and thousands of dollars on something that's perishable. To me, I think there's no investment that is more than investing in yourself, investing in your future. No knowledge is bad knowledge, but knowledge is wisdom, knowledge is power. Going into marriage with realistic expectations, with the right tools and the skills necessary to make your marriage thrive, I can't think of a better investment because this is the beginning of true peace of mind. Allah has described marriage as a place where we find peace and tranquility. But look at how many homes would say they have that. So for me, whatever the price tag, it was so sweet. I have a lady who called me and said, you have a discount for your launch month going on. And she's like, Auntie Mariam, please can you, this was on social media, I don't know her. Please, can you extend your discount till your anniversary month, which is next month in September, so that I can save enough to be able to take the course.
Oh my.
Alhamdulillah for her, we were able to get her the course for free because we have people who sponsored. That really melted my heart. And yes, you're absolutely right. There are some people who can't afford the course but really want to take it. So we do have, and that's what is going to run this platform, opportunities for people to sponsor as their little act of sadaqatun jariyah. We also have strategic partnership with a lot of organizations, RAPA, NASFAT, MICA, MCAN, Women in Da'wah, the Islamic Education Trust, and many other companies as well, who are sponsoring like 100 or 200, 300 people as their corporate social responsibility. But individuals, if you, Shireen, say you want to sponsor 2 people, whoever it is, and make your niyyah, you can send the money in on the platform and you will get to, inshallah, help somebody.
SubhanAllah, I think it's very important that we channel, this sponsorship because, if the family is fit, the society
Exactly.
is fit.
Absolutely.
So I think it's really important. I encourage everyone watching this program right now. If you want to see a better society, we might as well begin to invest more
Yeah.
in helping people learn about these courses and then to move on with their life, inshallah. So we're just going to take a short break, and inshallah we will be right back. Don't go anywhere. All right, welcome back. Alhamdulillah, we've been together with Ustaza Maryam Lemo, and inshallah, how you doing?
I'm great.
Mashallah,
Having
welcome
fun.
back. I'm glad you are. Barakallahu fiqh. Coming back to the course, Alhamdulillah, it's amazing that you've been able to bring all this together. And before we went for the break, you talked about how those who can have access to the course would be able to have access via the sponsorship. So tell me, what are the courses about? Like, can you list some of the courses? Just give us
the topics.
Just a bit of expo.
Yes, I can. Well, like I said at the beginning, I start with the jihad bin nafs. The struggle within yourself to identify your own flaws,
Right.
but to also recognize you have strengths. I work on self-esteem, because if you have a healthy self-esteem, you're not relying on your spouse to complete you. A lot of people say, oh, my marriage will complete me, or when I'm married, I'll be happy. You got to be happy before you get married. You got to be in order before you get married. Otherwise, you will be demanding a lot from this partner of yours, and they may not be able to give you what you need. So taking care of yourself, getting yourself in order is important. I cover friends. Why? Because today in marriages, you find friends are influencing certain members of the marriage, the husband or the wife, in a negative way, and it's affecting the relationship. They are influencing them, they are encouraging them to stay out late, neglect the family, neglect their responsibility, be involved in promiscuity and infidelity, and you name it. So friends, who are your friends and how do they affect you? I talk about making sure you clean house. You let go of friends that may not lead you to becoming the best version of you.
Right.
Then as we progress, as I said, I talk about excess baggage. I then move into addictions, because a lot of people, again, we counsel couples today, we're finding in marriage, there are couples who are addicted to pornography, addicted to masturbation, and they are married, but they're doing this thing on the side, and they don't realize that these are habits they probably started beforehand. But even if they started it in the relationship after the marriage, it is going to affect the marriage, because your spouse may not be able to pull all the stunts that you have as your fantasies, that you fulfill watching all those things. So I talk about also addiction to social media. During lockdown, a lot of people were reaching out to my husband and I that their spouse is on the phone throughout the day. They are locked up in their room and they never come out. There's no interaction. People are giving the unseen more priority than those who are in front of them, the people that matter most.
Right.
So I talk about the significance of making sure you are not a slave to social media, a slave to your devices, while neglecting those who really matter. Then we now progress into the istikhara, asking Allah to help you in finding the right spouse and selecting the right spouse. Then I talk about what you need to do if you found someone who looks like a significant other. What is your wish list? Make sure it's realistic, so you don't make it like this person doesn't exist.
Right.
A bespoke spouse. There's no custom designed spouse out there. And then things to be careful about. A lot of people during courtship see warning signs, and this is one of the biggest things I emphasize. I spend a lot of time talking about this. When we try to help couples whose marriages are on the rocks, you find a lot of the problems they are facing today were signs they saw before they got married, and they ignored it. Either they were too in love and they thought, oh, we'll fix it after the marriage, or after we get married, I'll solve that problem. Or they had gone too far and their families were not ready to accommodate them, saying they want out of the relationship.
Right.
This always leads to regret. So I go into all that in more detail, how to investigate the person you want to get married, how to know their background, know their family background, understand the dynamics of the family. Wow. It is so deep because, again, when we are counseling couples and maybe the husband is saying, my wife behaves like this, she's always doing this, she doesn't talk, she's non-expressive. I ask, how is her mother? And you find it's often the same thing. So the ability to really get the big picture and understand how all our experiences, we are the sum of those experiences put together, have created our personality. But we need to be able to recognize the ones that will damage us and deal with it. Then I go into qualities you need before you get married. So things like loyalty, taqwa, holding on tight to Allah's rope. I also go into knowing rights and responsibilities. I elaborate. I peel the layers of rights and obligations. A lot of couples go into marriage not knowing that they have obligations and they will answer to Allah for it. So I try to make sure they don't use ignorance as an excuse. Why? Because many people think the act of nikah completes their half of their ibadah,
Right.
whereas it's fulfilling your obligations that completes your ibadah, half of your faith. So I try to make sure people really understand what that involves so that they don't make the mistake of offending Allah, thinking we've gotten married, half of my faith is taken care of, let me just take care of the prayer, the fasting, and all the other acts of ibadah. So I go into that in more detail. I share my pearls of wisdom from my 30 years of marriage. I share the things that have worked for us that I wish I had known before I had gotten married. The best things we've done to build the solid relationship, alhamdulillah, that my husband and I share today. So I share so much, alhamdulillah.
This is really amazing, and
Yeah.
I ask Allah that Allah bless your husband and yourself and your husband and your family entirely, and make it easy for you all. Back to my next question. I want to ask about all those topics because that means I want need to go and register for the course.
That's right.
Well, so let's go to something very important.
Yeah.
There has been a stigma on women that have been divorced. You find out people saying, "No, she's a divorcee." It in Hausa, bazawarachi, So people like to make this statement and in a very insultive manner. And I've seen women that it has affected them socially, and I've seen women who are in an abusive marriage, but because they are scared of the stigma, what will people say if I get divorced? They stay in the abusive marriage and they take it in.
Yeah.
Please, what do you have to say about this?
It is really sad when we have these kind of labels attached to people that are very hurtful. I mean, if there's a divorcee of a woman, there's a divorcee of a man. I mean, it's two people that it takes to divorce. But Allah never prescribed marriage for someone to go into for misery. Allah didn't make it a death sentence for someone to just go to a life subjected to suffering. We're not supposed to sacrifice ourselves because of marriage. We're supposed to grow. We're supposed to grow in our faith, grow and develop emotionally, socially, physically, intellectually. Marriage is meant to build, not break us down. And if you are in a relationship where you are being depreciated, you're being broken, you're being made to look small, you are miserable, then if you've tried everything to make your marriage work and it doesn't, it is far better for your mental health, for your children, if you have children in that relationship, that you walk away than to stay. The reason why I say that is because our children will copy what they see.
True.
We will answer to Allah for what example we set for them. Our children are meant to see what a beautiful Muslim home is meant to look like. And if what they see is no love, if what they see is fights, if what they see is two people living their separate lives, if what they see is one parent being broken, depreciating, miserable, we will answer to Allah for the fact that we had an option and we chose to stay. Sometimes marriages don't work out. The biggest mistake a lot of parents make is they allow their children to be drawn into the battle. And you are going to create dysfunctional children who are going to carry that baggage and go and damage somebody else if you're not careful. We have to understand divorce is not a bad thing. And the thing is, when we look at polygamy, for instance,
right,
and men are allowed to marry up to 4 wives, it's prescribed that they should marry divorcees and widows and the elderly first, not these trophy wives everybody keeps bringing to show off as the hottest chick of the month or flavor of the month. That if divorcees are one of those that are even recommended, they're meant to get shelter. They're meant to be protected. I witnessed a divorce that happened a few years ago where the parents of these children, the couple, decided to part amicably. They parted as friends because they saw the relationship was deteriorating and becoming toxic. And they didn't want the kids to be brought into the battlefield, to be made lawyers, to take sides, and have to be damaged in the process. So what I really appreciated was how this couple, during the Idda period, and again, while going through a divorce, which many people don't follow, the woman is not supposed to leave the house of the man for those 3 months. She's supposed to stay put. So the woman is not meant to be humiliated. She's not meant to be stripped of her dignity. She's to be sheltered, protected, clothed and fed the way she was being treated when she was the wife. So all these are things that Allah makes so that it can be done smoothly, with dignity during the process, not with the kind of hatred and enmity that we see going on. Another thing I want to talk about is the fact that during divorce, there's a lot of slander that gets committed.
Right.
And I think it was in a lecture of Ismail Mufti Menk where he said that slander is worse than zina. And I was just like, whoa. And when I say slander, during a divorce process, you hear family members who say terrible things about what this person, the other spouse who's leaving. Right. So in-laws insulting and saying terrible things about the person leaving. And I was like, when you think about the words being uttered, how you're damaging this person's reputation, making them look like a bad person, a dirty person. I remember someone who said, I'm not going to say what this person has done. But Kai, if you know what they said, and they were talking like that's slander because you're already making my imagination think of the worst possible thing. So we have to understand that when there is a divorce, we have to be careful. We have to hold and respect the integrity of this person. No matter what, they are most likely the parent of your children. Whether it's the woman who is asking for a divorce, don't insult, make the father of your children look bad. But in-laws also, be careful. Nobody should damage anyone's reputation to the extent that they are no longer seen as marriage worthy. But the society has to recalibrate its thinking. It is very unfortunate because, again, we all have a responsibility. If this person did something so bad that led to the divorce, if they do their tawbah, Allah may have forgiven them, but you'll be swimming in sin because you've continued to talk about what they did.
100%.
So the best thing is just to continue praying for Allah to grant them the companion that's best for them. And this couple I'm talking about, they each went and got married separately,
Happily.
but they are still sharing the children. In fact, during the Idda, we didn't know they were going through a divorce because they were eating with the children together at the table. Sometimes they put a mat and we see them eating, and we didn't know there was even a divorce in the process. So for me, that's what I just want to emphasize. Yes, there's always hurt. Yes, there are wounds, but don't add salt to it. Do it with dignity. And for the love of your children, don't stay in an unhealthy relationship. And for the love of your own sanity, don't go and sacrifice yourself simply because you don't want to be called a divorcee. Yeah.
Thank you so much for answering this question. I wish we can go on with the conversation, but we have to end the show now. Alhamdulillah, I'm really excited that you brought up this topic about the divorces and like so, because so many people are going through abusive marriage and they are not speaking about it simply because of what the society is going to say. Before I end the show, I just want to ask one question.
Yes.
A lot of young people are married.
Yeah.
And after 2 to 3 months of their marriage, they want to go out.
Yeah.
What should they do?
Take this premarital course. Wallahi, it will change everything. Actually, I was so shocked today to see that I had married couples taking the course, and I was happy.
Right.
I was hoping, because I've shared this, if someone wants to recalibrate, you've been married 18 years and things aren't working, go back and see what's missing. Because I start from the foundation. And like I said, I use what we learned. My husband and I, for 6 years, were miserable. We were unhappy in our relationship. I wanted a divorce. And it was
unhappy.
We were miserable. My husband said, Mariam, I don't look forward to coming home to you. That shocked me. I was like, but you're the problem. I never looked in the mirror to see what was I doing wrong. So my husband saying that to me opened my eyes to say, okay, maybe there's something you are doing. Wallahi, that was the turning point. So I sat Saeed down and I was like, Saeed, what am I doing that you don't like? For once in my life, I kept my big mouth shut and I took notes instead. And he told me what he didn't like about the things I was doing. And I say, are there things I'm doing that you like? Tell me what those are. so I can continue? And then are there things we don't have now in the relationship that you want us to start? And he shared that. And alhamdulillah, he asked me to do the same with him. And that was the turning point.
Amazing.
So I share the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I believe newly wedded couples should still take this course together because they start with the right foundation.
Absolutely.
It's never too late to work on revamping your relationship.
Sure.
And I truly believe this is going to change a lot of marriages. It's going to change the future of generations, inshallah.
Inshallah.
That is my
Inshallah.
prayer. That is my hope.
Inshallah.
I pray we change the narrative.
Thank you so much for coming on board. May Allah bless you for your work. And dear viewers, we've come to the end of this episode. Make sure you try the course. And also, if you're among those that stigmatize people who are divorced, fear Allah, because this will really affect them. Don't say things that might hurt people and make them want to even commit suicide. May Allah make life easy for us. Until the next episode, I'll leave you all in the care of Allah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.